All right, good morning, traders. Good morning, Lenny, Alan, Melinda, Centauri, Phil, Julie, Emma, Ricardo, and everyone else that made it here in the BYOB trading room. All right, today is August 11th, 2023. Good morning. My SPY pivot remains at 447.30. Above, I'm a bull. Below, I'm a bear. All four indices and the FNGU in 2-hour downtrends. US dollar remains bullish. Nat gas gave us a pullback yesterday. I like that pullback. I think I may pick some up today. Okay, crude oil and nat gas are in daily uptrends. PPI data will be out at 8:30 today. I have a possible SPY target of 438. If price happens to break through 444, 445 area, we'll see. Feels like same thing that we had yesterday. So let's just take a look at the economic data real quick. Get that out of the way. All right, so PPI 8:30, consumer sentiment 10 o'clock. Let's look for the dollar. Let me see if I can get a picture of the dollar up here in a few minutes. And we'll get that going. Earnings calendar. We got about 3 pages of earnings today. Not too bad. Not much opening up in the morning. On Monday, Suncor, Rumble, nothing really big. And max pain for today is 447. We have like about 1.5 puts for every call. That's the ratio of puts to call for today. So let's take a look at FX, see what they got going on. In the meantime, let's just go over to the UUP. So here's the UUP. This is the US dollar index. You can see we're still bullish on the US dollar, challenging those highs, this downtrend that we had earlier. So there's UUP. Let's just take a peek at TLT, see if it's still digging out new lows. All right, here's the 20-year Treasury digging out new lows, still in a downtrend. IEF, that would be our 7 to 10-year Treasury, also digging out new lows. In a downtrend, but challenging the lows down here in the support area. Now let's go take a look at the SPY. All right, so yesterday's candle, let me zoom in here. Yesterday's candle made a higher high and a lower low, so lots of volatility today. If we dig inside yesterday's candle on a 30-minute chart, you can see we had a huge spike bar coming through our downtrend channel here. And the bears quickly brought it back inside the channel and brought us all the way back down to the 445 area to challenge that area right there. Now we've made a lower high and we've challenged the low. So we'll see what happens where they want to open it up this morning. Pretty much we start closing candles over 447.30, I'm going to be a bull. Below, I'm going to be a bear. So I'm going to be bearish as long as they stay inside this channel coming down here. If we happen to break 444, 445 area, I see targets of 438.40, 442.48, 443.82. So these are our targets for today. Now let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ on the daily chart, still in that 2-hour downtrend. And yesterday we made a higher high from the previous day. And looks like an equal low to the previous day. So they're banging on the door down here at 367.45. And let's take a look at they are also, if we look at the 2-hour chart, 2-hour downtrend. Back to the daily chart, price is underneath the T line. T line is underneath the trend indicator, and we're getting a pullback right now. So here's the minor support, would be these two peaks here. We're kind of melting through it. We'll see how far they want to take it. Now let's take a look at IWM. On the daily chart, IWM makes a lower low and a higher high from the previous day. Again, IWM is kind of trading back to the minor support here. See these two peaks that look like a left shoulder? Well, this is our minor support. So price is kind of trading back to that area at this time. And on the daily chart, we have price underneath the 3 EMA. 3 EMA is underneath the 8 EMA. And all three are underneath the trend indicator, which is the 17 EMA. So we're getting a pullback here to minor support. We'll see if we're going to get a bounce off of the minor support area or if we may melt through. Now, we didn't come in hard and fast, so I'm thinking we're not going to get that red rubber school ball bouncing effect. It's looking more like it could probably melt through here. We'll see what happens. Now let's take a look at FNGU. All right, if we look at FNGU, we have a left shoulder right over here. We have a head. We have a right shoulder. And we have a break of the neckline right there. So we'll see what FNGU wants to do. And we have support. This would be major support of these tail candles that stick down. So we have major support at 165.50. We'll see how they deal with that. They possibly may want to come all the way back to this uptrend line and bounce off of that. We'll see what happens with FNGU. FNGU in a daily downtrend and an hourly 2-hour downtrend. All making lower lows and lower highs. You can see we're knocking on the doors of the support area right here early this morning in the 2-hour chart. So there's FNGU. Now let's take a look at, we did QQQ, we did IWM. Let's take a look at the diamonds. Now the diamonds have a different story going on, okay? They're not quite as weak as the other three. They are in a 2-hour downtrend. If we look at the diamonds on the daily chart, trend indicator's still red. That's the 17 EMA. Price is underneath the 3 EMA. 3 EMA is underneath the T line, but yet all three remain over the 17 EMA. So diamonds putting in a little bit different story than the other three indices with the FNGU. So diamonds looking like a possible bull flag over to the trend line. I like to buy the bottom of the bull flag. I like it when the price structure stays in the upper 30%. And if we take our quad lines and drag them in here, you can see price has remained in quadrant 4. Quadrants are labeled 1 at the bottom, 2, 3, and 4 would be the highest. So price structure is remaining in the upper 30% and still in quadrant 4. I would expect this to bull flag all the way over to the trend line and possibly we could get some moving average come up from underneath it and give it a little lift later on, maybe in about 2 or 3 weeks or so. So there's the diamonds. Now let's go take a look at our financials. Financials also in a 2-hour pullback, a 2-hour downtrend. Financials for yesterday, we inked out lower lows and we had higher highs. So lots of volatility yesterday, which I was pretty much expecting with the CPI. If you look at most of these daily candles that we had, the SPY, the NASDAQ, in other words, the QQQ, and IWM, everything had spikes on the tops and bottoms. So everything, lots of volatility. 2-hour downtrend in the XLF. On the daily, we are making lower lows, lower highs, and lower lows on the XLF. We are having a daily downtrend pullback. We just now kind of breached the 17 EMA in the last 3 days. So price is now trading underneath the 17 EMA. Not really a good sign for the XLF, but if we take the quad lines and stick them in there, you're in the upper third. If we drag them out a little bit further, you're well into quadrant 4. And if we take it out even further than that, we are doing quite well there with the QQQ, with the XLF. And of course, they're getting some resistance right up here at the minor resistance. This would be our minor resistance, all these tails that stick down right here. This would be our minor resistance. So we got up into there for a couple days, almost challenged major resistance. As you can see, we got halfway through there, this area, and then kind of stalled out and pulled back. So there's XLF, still in a very nice trend. I do expect more upside in the XLF. And if we put a trend line in here, right through there, let's just grab the tips of those and see where they fan out at. So we can see we got a pullback to trend line over here. We got some room, and we could have a bullish pullback in the upper 30%, and then probably some moving average will come along from underneath it and give it some lift in the near future, hopefully. So there's the XLF. Now let's take a look at SMH. SMH kind of doing the same thing as everything else, 2-hour downtrend. We had an M pattern playing out here. Excuse me. Up one, down one, up one, down one, and then we had a little battleground, and it looks like the bears won that battle because they're headed back into this uptrend channel to challenge this uptrend line right here. Daily downtrend not quite identified yet on the SMH. We don't have a lower high yet. So it's just kind of a 2-hour downtrend at this time. SMH having a 2-hour pullback, well, a daily pullback in a 2-hour down in a 2-hour downtrend in a daily pullback, and price, the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA, the T line, trading underneath the 17 EMA trend indicators. So I would expect a pullback to this area right here, and then probably get some bounce happening right there. Price still is in the upper third for the SMH. That is bullish in my outlook. So SMH having a pullback, giving us some opportunity. I'll be looking for confirmation. That would be, a couple daily candles, at least one nice green daily candle, and then a 10-minute or a 30-minute uptrend where the 3 crosses over the 8 over VWAP. I'll be looking for that in the SMH. Now let's take a look at transports, IYT. So here's our transports having it's a daily pullback. it's a 2-hour downtrend in a daily pullback. Again, all three underneath the 17 EMA, the price structure, the T line, and the 3 EMA, all underneath the 17. So we're having a pullback, and we do get quite a bit of room over here to pull back to the trend line. And if you notice, we're well into the upper third of the last move. We could move it out here, kind of just see where that fans out at. Still in quadrant 4, still looking good. Nice lightning bolt pattern all the way to the upside there on the transports. So let's take a look and see what we have for weakest sectors and strongest sectors. Maybe I can find it here. All right, starting in the morning, looks like QQQ short is got some lift, so that means we could be seeing some downside early in the morning. The miners haven't been doing well at all. In other words, the precious metals. So let's go take a look at gold and silver. So here's gold, pullback underneath the midpoint of the quad lines. That's weakness. In the lower 30% of the quad lines. Not a good sign, not a good outlook for gold. Not at this time. We'll see if they can put in a higher low here and start a new uptrend. Now, we could connect these lines and just kind of see where everything fans out at. So gold right now attacking this uptrend line. So we'll see if it makes it back up over the midpoint. Again, we're going to look for confirmation. Right now, we're in a daily downtrend with the 3 EMA, the price, and the 8 EMA all underneath the 17. Not a good outlook for gold right now, but we are hitting the uptrend line. So we'll see what happens here in the next week. Silver. Silver's kind of doing the same trick. All right. Again, back at the trend line. If we take this, that uptrend is broken. Let's drag this out here and drop this in there. And you can see silver has a little bit more room for pullback. They could actually come all the way down to the $20 area before bouncing. We'll see what happens with silver. Silver in a downtrend. All three underneath the 17 EMA. And as you can see, they're well underneath this midpoint of the quad lines for their last move up. So we'll see what happens there. We have a triangle kind of playing out here, with that being the peak. And you can see here's the wedge. We'll see what happens in the near future. We probably could get some ping pong ball, pinball effect, where price bounces off this bumper and then hits this bumper and then goes back and forth within the wedge and consolidates in the price. And then eventually one of these trend lines is going to win out the future price action. So there's silver. Now, let's take a look at UNG. All right, so here's our rocket ship up, all the way up to the backside of this uptrend line. And you can see we bounced all the way back down to, well, the 30% area, the upper 30%. So this is offering a nice pullback buying opportunity right here, right on. See all these candle tips that stick up? That's your minor support. See these that stick down? That's your major support. So here's minor support. So we're getting a pullback to the minor support. And what we're going to look for is that 15-minute uptrend, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP for UNG right on top of this minor support, 744. And for me, that represents a nice buying opportunity. When price bounces off the minor support and heads off to challenge the recent highs or make new highs. And that's pretty much it for this morning. And if I'll take a few minutes and we'll take some questions. Let me stop the recording.